This is Alan Brennert, and welcome to the second half of this episode's double bill, Eye of Newton. You can think of this as sort of a Daffy Duck short that succeeds rather than precedes the main feature. This was actually a great episode to write. I had wanted to do a comic episode. We actually had done a few other ones, The Uncle Devil Show and Dealer's Choice, both written by Don Todd, who later went on to be a very successful writer of sitcoms. And I've always enjoyed writing comedy. Immediately before The Twilight Zone, I had worked for Phil Daguerre on Simon & Simon, which I always saw more as a comedy series with occasional crime elements to it. The fun there was in the characters' relationships. And this began life as a short story by Joe Haldeman, which I found in an anthology called Cosmic Laughter. And the bare bones of the story are pretty much the same as you see in this episode. Joe came up with a great premise, the mathematician who accidentally conjures up this guy here, the devil, or a demon, or take your pick. And it contains the setup, it contains the payoff, which you've probably already seen since you've already seen the episode, where he tells him to get lost, which of course he can't do. I built on that from there. There was probably a bit less comedy in the actual short story than I put in the episode. One of my contributions to this was to envision the demon as sort of a Hollywood agent and make most of his dialogue kind of quasi-hip. To me, this is still one of my favorite episodes for that reason. And in fact, my favorite line in the episode is when he talks about somebody's soul going into turnaround. I'm sure that joke went over the heads of about 95% of the people in the audience in 1985, but it amused me, and that's the important thing, right? Both Ron Glass and Sherman Hemsley did a terrific job in this. Now take a look at his T-shirt. You'll notice that it's changed once already and will change several times to come. I've had people look at this episode and sort of blink and go, wait a minute, did that say the same thing just 5 minutes ago? And I came up with the idea of doing that, but I can't really say it's a very original thought on my part. I basically took it from Doonesbury. That point in Doonesbury in the 1980s, we were seeing a lot of shots of the White House in the background, and in the foreground there's a mailbox, and the writing on the mailbox changes, or the writing on a paper changes from panel to panel. And I thought, I wonder if this would work in film. And sure enough, it did. You simply changed it in between shots. So this is sort of one of those episodes that I think rewards going back over and looking at twice. Oh, there it is. It's changed again. Over 2 billion served. Excuse me for laughing at my own joke. Anyway, I think they did a terrific job on this. The only major change from the short story, I believe in the short story, the equation or the problem that the mathematician was working on was squaring the circle. And in order to make sure that this was fairly accurate, at least in terms of the mathematics, I spoke to there's another new T-shirt, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. I talked to a mathematics professor at UCLA who was more than a little snippy. Perhaps he resented giving free advice to a Hollywood producer, but he told me, well, the circle's been squared years ago, so that's just a fake issue. It's just not accurate. And I said, oh, gee, well, it's too bad, because it sounds really nice. There's no way we could keep that somehow. And he got very testy and said, if you don't want it to be accurate, then that's fine with me. And he hung up on me. So I sort of stare at the dead receiver in my hand, and I go, okay, and call him back and say, look, I'm sorry, I want this to be as accurate as possible. What would you suggest? And he suggested something, the Riemann equation or something, which I frankly don't remember right now. And I substituted that. And I think Ken Gilbert, our director, was a little unhappy with that because he liked squaring the circle. But given the choice of making it accurate or not, we tended to go for accurate. Albeit in an episode about a demon from the nether regions of hell. Anyway, this is one of my favorite episodes because it's concise and compact and funny, and I like the fact that it's part of a double bill with one of my other favorite episodes, Her Pilgrim's Soul, and I hope you agree.
State as easily as you can blow your nose. I can do anything, go anywhere. And I have access to every bit of recorded information in the album.
So that pretty much exhausts whatever profound sentiments I have to say about this episode, so I'll just conclude by saying I hope you've enjoyed this episode as much as I enjoyed writing it.
Eso es poesía, solo es poesía. Sé quién te puede comprar. Existe un mundo en que la forma de vida dominante es una raza de dígitos binarios, vivientes y conscientes. Podría ser un decimal. Y con el tiempo llegar a ser una fracción. ¿Hay algún lugar en el universo que esté habitado donde pudieras ir y te fuera imposible volver aquí? Odio emanarte esas vibraciones negativas, Sam. Pero no. Podría ir corriendo a la galaxia de Andrómeda y volver en un microsegundo si es que no me detengo a almorzar. Podría ir quizá a lo que sería Berlín si los nazis hubieran ganado la guerra. O a la Roma del siglo XII a.C. si Alejandro hubiera llegado a una edad avanzada. Y debo confesarte, Sam, que la verdad esperaba más de ti. Tratar de encontrar un lugar del cual no pudiera volver es un viejo truco. La última vez que alguien lo intentó fue debió ser por el siglo V a.C. No funcionó antes ni funcionará ahora, así que finalmente hazme una pregunta que no pueda contestar o una tarea que no pueda llevar a cabo. No es una pregunta, es un mandato. Lo estoy esperando, viejo. Vete al diablo. No. No. No, no, menos eso. No. 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 Es otro de nuestros consabidos consejos respecto a qué hacer si el diablo aparece en el umbral de su puerta. Ese pobre diablo no me ayudó en nada. Un anuncio de servicios públicos. From the Twilight.